Iron Mike Tyson was born June 30, 1966 in Brooklyn, New York. His boxing career finished with a record of 50 wins, 6 losses, and 2 no contests. Of Tyson's 50 wins he had 44 knockouts. His best wins were Michael Spinks, Donovan Razor Ruddock, Tony Tucker and Larry Holmes. His worst defeats were against James "Buster" Douglas, Evander Holyfield, Kevin McBride and Danny Williams. His strengths was his speed, power, head movement and intimidation. His weaknesses was he struggled when the going got tough, he got too involved emotionally in his fights and finally he never got off the deck to win a fight. Once known universally as the baddest man on the planet, Mike Tyson captured the imagination of sports fans around the world when he burst onto the scene in the mid-late 1980s. A troubled youth, saved from the streets by a caring mentor, his trainer and manager Cus D'Amato, Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in history at the age of 20, when he knocked out Trevor Berbick with a stunning left hook in Las Vegas in November 1986. It was an astonishing achievement. Tyson would then go on to terrorize the remainder of the division. Iron Mike instilled fear into just about every heavyweight he faced. Whether it was Frank Bruno crossing himself umpteen times on his way to the ring, to Michael Spinks freezing like a deer in the headlights, or when the great Larry Holmes was trying to out-tough and outman him, no one could match Tyson in his prime. It was not about who he was beating but how he was decimating them. As a result, many Tyson fans think the fighter would have matched up favorably against any of the best heavyweights in history. We will, of course, never know. Mike's distractions outside of the ring saw his prime cut terribly short. Troubles with women, managers and promoters culminated in him being stunned in arguably the biggest heavyweight upset of all time when James "Buster" Douglas left a bewildered Tyson clawing away at the canvas for a lost mouthpiece. Tyson did get back on track with wins over his old amateur rival Henry Tillman with a first-round knockout. This was followed with another first-round knockout of Alex Stewart. Then came a true test against the heavy-handed Donovan "Razor" Ruddock, who Mike beat twice in wars. Tyson was then imprisoned for raping a beauty queen in 1992, losing 3 years of what was left of his prime. Once out of the Indianapolis jail, the punch, the hunger and dedication were not quite the same, but he was still Iron Mike. A quick knockout of the game Peter McNeely was followed by Iron Mike regaining the WBC and WBA belts from Frank Bruno in 3 one-sided rounds. Next up was another quick knockout of the seemingly scared witless Bruce Seldon and Mike was back. Tyson then ran into the not afraid, God-fearing Evander Holyfield, who just had Mike's number, with Holyfield stopping Tyson in round 11. Then 7 months later in the return fight Tyson, out of ideas, twice bit Holyfield's ears for a disqualification loss. A boxing ban followed and a separate conviction for an assault on 2 elderly motorists saw him lose a couple more years of his boxing career. The controversy was never far away from Tyson. On his next return he found a great right hand to put out Frans Botha, then admitted trying to break the South African's arm in a clinch. He then fought to a no contest with Orlin Norris, whom he knocked out after the bell. Tyson twice visited the UK for quick wins over Julius Francis and Lou Savarese. Another no contest followed, when a drug test revealed he'd been smoking marijuana prior to his TKO win over the reluctant Andrew Gulota. Then in 2002 came the long-awaited clash with the champion Lennox Lewis. Tyson, whose peak was 15 years earlier, took a frightful beating over 8 rounds and then entered retirement following upset losses to British fighter Danny Williams and then the limited Irishman Kevin McBride. It had been a wild ride. There was a comeback exhibition against Roy Jones Jr. in recent years, which turned back the clock slightly, but let's be honest, the peak Tyson and the recent exhibition version of Mike are miles apart as fighters, and understandably so.